Hey there, listener. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Amy Takaya. Today, we're going to be exploring why is it that so many of us feel sick and our symptoms and our issues that are going in our bodies are not adequately addressed by the allopathic way, by the traditional way, right? At least traditional in this day and age of doing health and wellness practice of treating medical conditions. Today, I have a very special guest, and her name is ZuZu. And ZuZu Unleashed today on the podcast is going to share her personal experience, journey, story, and what she's building with her daughter, Aimee, in terms of helping people to combine, we could say like Eastern and Western, or we could say medical and more intuitive approaches to really get people the help that they need. So if you've been having unanswered questions to why you're not feeling well in your body, please stay tuned. Every day there is a forgetting, and every moment there is the possibility of remembering. Remembering who you truly are, awakening to your body, to the inner world, to the experience of being alive. Here is where you find the beauty, the joy, and here is where you free your soma. I'm your host, Amy Takaya. I'm here to help you move from pain to power, from tension to expansion, and ultimately from fear to love. Hi, ZuZu. So nice to meet you.
Hey, Amy, you have that kind of voice that you should read books for people to fall asleep to because you're so calming and it's
Oh,
so wonderful to listen to you talk. I'm like, I love this voice.
thank you. I read to my son like almost every night before he goes to bed, and I get really into it. And sometimes I have to be less entertaining because he's not falling asleep.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love
wonderful.
it.
Yeah, we were just talking before the podcast started recording about how you have this special relationship with your daughter and that you're building this really big movement and helping a lot of people with your daughter. And I was saying how that I just thought that was really cool and I could relate because my dad and I are also collaborators and colleagues, and we have a shared mission in terms of somatics. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about you and your daughter and how you work as a team.
Sure. Well, it's kind of fun. So thank you for that. I started business before I even had children. That's just what I did. Well, actually, when the twins were 6 months old, I started my first business. That was a cleaning business, special touch cleaning service. We brighten your home, we brighten your day. We always leave a fresh bouquet. And that grew beautifully. And we had lots of people, 14, 15 people working with us. And then I was it was a really bad situation I was in. So I took the 5 kids, closed the business, and we left and to get safe. And so it was then it's been so much fun. The kids literally, so then I opened up a health food store and a grocery store, wellness centers, we had cafe. And so the children just worked and all the kids worked. They'd come home from school and they'd unload the trucks, they'd work in the cafe. It was just part of, I had this little saying, if you don't work, you don't eat. Welcome to the world, right? If you don't work, you don't eat. So if mom and dad don't work, well, then you don't eat, right? So anyhow, the kids just grew up, we all grew up working together and playing together. We took a lot of vacations. And so as the kids got older and older and older, a lot of them stepped into business with me, helping here. My oldest daughter ran our first wellness center out west, away from our main center in Wisconsin. So it was just really enjoyable. And Aimee is number 7. So she was coming up in the ranks. There's 12 altogether. I gave birth to 7, and then I had 3 with my husband. And then we adopted a daughter, and then one of my students died and left me her daughter. So it was just a wonderful story. But Amy's number 7 in the whole mix of things. And so as she grew up watching us having a wellness center where people would come and get well. And so she thought, well, I'm going to go into public health when I go into college. So she, rude awakening. And so public health is not public health, but she stuck with it, graduated Johns Hopkins, and she said when she was graduating, she's like, okay, I'm going to find that company that just needs me. I'm going to be helping the world. We'll be helping people one-on-one. We'll be doing community classes. She's like, wait a minute, that's my mom's business. And so she came in to business with me in 2020, and we actually went international at that time. So I had been certifying students here since 2010, in our country, but then we went international. Now we have 100 different languages people can graduate in. So we own holistichealtheducators.com. And it's our tagline, bridging Western and Eastern medicine for good, but we teach the science of natural healing. So that's where we're at. We have a lot of fun. We are always on stage together, like always on stage together. And we love each other. It's a super hoot. I say I'm unleashed because I don't care anymore. Like all the questions that were, my PA turned in all these questions for you. And I don't care. I don't care at all. Like ask me anything. I don't care because I don't have to. I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm 58. I can say whatever I want. So it's a lot of fun. And she's very, like, she's the best oh my gosh, anatomy and my words are
Physiology.
thank you, teacher I've ever known. Like, she is so fun and she's so on point. It's really been neat. So it's been an incredible journey. And that's what we do together. And as I was sharing with you, who better to work with? Like, she's been connected to me electronically, right, through the electron cloud since she was conceived, just like your dad and you are connected. So even though you don't got to be best friends with everybody that you've conceived or been with, but it's so important to realize that because you've been together for so long, you know each other on such a different level. And that really has been very beneficial in our relationship, because if I say something stupid or I do something, or she doesn't care. She's like, been around forever, mom. I'm not worried about that. Or if she doesn't, I don't care. We have a little bit more forgiveness for those that we're so connected to. And also and at the same time, at the flip of the coin, we have so much more joy and so much more, whatever the words are, like exhilaration when someone succeeds with something. It's like, it's part of you and you're part of your dad. And so of course your dad just loves to watch you grow and prosper and be who you are, because you are part of him and you are proud of your dad for doing X, Y, and Z. And so it's kind of not every family can do that, but my husband and I are inseparable, and most of my kids and I were very close. Couple of them are different with their religious views, so I'm not welcome kind of in some of their lives, but that's good. That's what they believe. So what am I supposed to do? Tell them they're wrong? I'm like, your beliefs
Right.
are based on what you know. What am I supposed to do? So
Right, right. No, I mean, the thing is that, the work that I do with people is around somatic healing and releasing unconscious patterns of tension and pain from their body. And that's what my dad helped me do. And like that, my dad was actually my first teacher in this modality, my first mentor in this modality. And I've received over a hundred hands-on sessions from him of somatic re-education and programming, like neuromuscular reprogramming. And that was like not easy because he and I actually didn't have a very great relationship early in life. And what I want to say is kind of a testament to like where you're at is it sounds like you've really taken on and embodied what it means to be well inside and out. And your relationship with your daughter is a real honest, reflection of that. And I know there are listeners who are just like probably already in love with you and like, oh my God, I wish she could be my mom, right? Because they don't have those kind of relationships with their family. Their relationships have been strained or there's a lot of unresolved trauma. And it shows up also as physical illness and physical challenges that people are living with that kind of keep them in this sickness, dis-ease loop. And a lot of the people that I work with, and maybe also people that are coming to you, are kind of what we might call cycle breakers. They're this person in maybe the first in like their genetic line who's really putting their foot down and saying there has to be another way. Like, I'm not going to keep living this way. I'm not going to pass this on to my children. I'm going to heal, right? And so as a testament again to how far you've come as a human being, but also as a mother, that you went from what sounds like a very difficult situation in your early life, right? And you made different choices and you also walked down a path of wellness, not just for yourself, but for your family. And you're living in the beautiful result of that. And I just really want to acknowledge that because I feel it too. My dad and I, we have such a beautiful, close relationship. And if you had told me when I was a kid that I would be like working with my father in this way, I would never have believed you because he had a lot of growing up to do back then. He had a lot of healing to do, and he was not the person he is now. I tell people that he's not the person who raised me. He's transformed, and it takes dedication and time and resources, which it sounds like is a big part of what you're providing to people, resources to heal. Did you know that your muscles are holding on to thoughts, memories, and feelings? If you have a tight neck or back, you're not just getting old, you're experiencing a buildup of tension from the life you've lived. Most people don't know this, but there is a part of your brain that can reverse and prevent chronic tension. When you relax your muscles, you not only move better and regulate your nervous system, but you also free yourself from the grip the past has over your body. So you can live with freedom, confidence, and enjoy your life now. How does that sound? Join me, Aimee Takaya, and discover what my clients are raving about at youcanfreeyoursoma.com.
Well, what's awesome is you also forgave. Like I raised all these kids and I kept telling them, I'm not always right. I just came first. And a lot of parents are so like a lot
Yeah.
of people, they got to be right about everything. Like their religion
Yeah.
is right. And they're the only ones going to heaven and their politics are right. And all the rest of you are damned to hell. And we should be blowing up the blah, blah. Oh my gosh, get over yourself. Like we do, our beliefs are based. If there's one thing very people can take away, our beliefs are based on what we know, period.
Mhm.
Your parents' beliefs are based on what they know. Your parents' way of raising you was based on what they saw, what they were exposed to. To blame them or blame our ancestors for everything puts you in victim mode the rest of your life. No one is ever going to heal when they're in blaming mode. When they go, oh, this is passed on from 17 generations, and oh my gosh, I can't, I'll get over it. Of course, things are passed on. It's called DNA and cell memory. However, we can't claim that as an
Right.
excuse and then live in drama. And I love
Yeah.
somatic. I love somatic therapy. We love it. And so I'm so glad people are following you and are aware of that. And I'm so proud of you for like forgiving your dad and all those of you who are listening. If you're one of those kids who's like,
Yeah.
never going to talk to my parents again and blah, blah, oh, get over yourself, get your butt, whatever. Now, if they've been abusive or there's something tragic,
Right, right,
then
right.
that's one thing, but that is not usually the case. The case is usually your parents are set doing one thing. Now, my parents are 80 years old. They're very, they believe whatever comes on the TV. Am I supposed to be upset with them for that? No, they were raised to believe what came on the TV.
Right.
I expose them to a few new thoughts, but I'm not going to bring up politics with them. Or I'm not going to bring certain things up. Sometimes I do because I'm like, hey, totally agree with you on this one. This guy's insane. Right. But like, I don't care. I don't bring it up. You don't have to bring it up. Even my husband and I don't agree on everything. We met, we were, when we were a few years ago. And
Yeah.
and so we don't believe everything's the same. I don't care. I just don't talk about those things. And he doesn't either. We've found our common
Right.
grounds.
Well, it's beautiful what you're describing because you're coming from a certain level of safety in your own physical somatic experience, which comes from healing your body and working with your body and your microbiome and your nervous system to
Yeah.
feel like you're safe. A lot of this, very I'm right, you're wrong, polar, thinking it comes from people who are stuck in survival mode, who do not feel safe in their own body, and they have to make everybody else wrong and they have to fight everybody else because they're trying to scramble or grab one little scrap of what they think is, the piece of the pie that everybody else is going to take if they don't, hold on to it and grip it tightly. Their own subjective reality becomes their own prison because they don't feel safe, and that was a lot of what went on with my dad. My dad was not safe as a little boy, unfortunately. He was physically abused and he's open about this. He started talking to me about it when I was in high school, which was crazy to me. He started apologizing to me in high school for ways that he treated me when I was a kid, you know? And this was alongside him doing gut cleanses and practicing yoga and,
Yes.
taking care of his body and taking care of his
Yeah.
internal health. And it started to create a deeper understanding of himself and compassion for himself. And this is that kind of like holistic healing that a person goes through, right? That allows them to be safe to hear another point of view or another opinion, or even be around that person who thinks that they're wrong about everything and not feel threatened, not feel like their physical body is at risk because there's a fortification they experience, right? So let's talk even a little bit more. You've been teaching people how to be, you could say like holistically fit in their being, right? What are some of the things that you teach people? What are some of the goals that people come to you and are looking to fulfill?
That's great. So people come, and I loved everything you said. People come for obviously everything. So narcolepsy, epilepsy, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, it doesn't matter, cholesterol issues, different kinds of cancer, you name it, I've seen it over the last, decades. And and I realized years ago that there's 10 main things that if people can adjust, then will normally get very well. And then we can approach a couple little fine tunements. And so there's about 10, and we have a 10-step program that people go through. And that 10-step program, and I can give you a code so you could get it nice and inexpensive for your listeners. But the 10-step program is amazing. We have so much fun in that program. You'll laugh, you'll cry. It's super great. But it is looking at the foundations of the body. What is our movement like? What is our water like? And when I say water, trust me, most people listening have no idea what water really is. And
Oh,
actually
yes.
vortexes through the body and what you should be drinking. Don't go buy a $5,000 water machine, you guys. You don't need that. God didn't make those machines. Okay. Anyhow, I mean, someone did to get your money, and that's fine. If you bought one, then you're going to use it more because you just paid $5,000 for a water machine. But there are so many things people don't realize that are the basis of how we function. And the number one thing, Aimee, that we want people to help realize is that we are matter. This is made of something, and every system in the body works like this. Respiratory, the circulatory, the endocrine, the nervous system, all of them work like this. You cannot separate a system and treat it. You cannot do that. It will not work, period. It will not work. And so teaching that we come together, and this is the big thing. When I say matter, you are made of minerals. You are made of vitamins. You are made of biophotons. You are made of amino acids. You are made of fats. That's it. So like, where do you get those from? So what we really need to do is back up and go, okay, if I'm made of minerals and vitamins, amino acids, biophotons, and fats, where do I get those from? Now look at what you're eating for breakfast. Look at what you're drinking right now. That's where you're getting it from? Did you all wake up and drink coffee right away to put in your lazy river? The lazy river is the bloodstream. And so
Mm.
that's what I refer to as the bloodstream. And when you have all your little cells all congratulated, right? And they're gut toxins and molds and bacterias and all sorts of fibers in there from whatever. If you did do any of the boosters or go and get vaccinated or quote unquote jab during COVID, you most likely have fibrinogen. A lot of it, we see it in the blood all the time in those who have been vaxxed. And so we need to get that out because that stiffens the arteries, which we all know people have been, died suddenly is a real thing. We
Yeah.
need to make sure that we clean our lazy river. And so what we eat, what we drink, what we put on our skin, and what we breathe in or put up your bum, that is all something that's making you you. And vitamins and minerals only come from plants. That's it. You can go get a rock mineral from a health food store. By the way, I own 2 health food stores. I had a third one. And so I won't purchase 94 to 98% of anything in another health food store because it's just ground up rocks. Just ground up, you guys, it is just ground up rocks. Calcium carbonate is a rock. Okay, iron sulfate is that's actually a rock, but it's also a toxic byproduct of steel manufacturing. But all those things are toxic to our bodies. We can only get real vitamins and minerals that are bioavailable through plants. Well, guess what? That's where all your amino acids are. So every amino acid needed to build a protein is in a plant.
I know that blew my mind when I realized that because people are always fixated on meat. And it's
I
like, well, how do you think the meat got the amino acid? The animal ate grass.
Or the animal ate a grass eating animal. Like,
Yes,
it's
yes,
like
yes.
it just is. And so you can still eat meat. I have a half of a cow in my freezer because our family has a farm in Arkansas, the best meat I've ever had in my life. I don't eat meat. I'll eat a little bit of that, but I've not been a meat eater, raised my kids without hardly ever eating meat. It's just part of, I don't like meat. Never did, never will. My protein levels are beautiful. I am 58, no medications, haven't been on any medications since I got off of the ones for epilepsy when I was 21. I feel fantastic, great energy, great libido. I went through menopause, didn't even know it, ladies. Not a single hot flash, never had a problem with lubrication, zero, zippo, none of it. And that's what's possible when you actually ignite the body with minerals, which are the sparks of life. If you think about it, if there's one proton, you have hydrogen and you have one electron. If there's 2 protons, right, then you have helium and there's 2 electrons. If you have 12 protons, you have 12 electrons, maybe a couple more or less, but that's going to be magnesium. That is what sparks the body to relax, just like calcium sparks the body to contract. Selenium is amazing for the skin, right? And so we look at all these vitamins and minerals that are rocks and they're toxic. So just if they're making your pee yellow, just get rid of them, right? And but there's other reasons too that things would make your pee yellow. But like, don't buy things that are rocks. Always look for what plant did it come from. And
Yes.
and I think that's the biggest takeaway. And then water. You need water. And you don't need water with all the added crap that you get through these. I'm out west and every single corner doesn't, well, not only does it have a church, but it also has like a Fizz-It place or a Starbucks or some place to buy a toxic drink, with the water where it just comes from wherever the water comes from. And then all the additives, and you're like, ew, right? Like, and for those of you drinking coffee, that's fine, but like know your source, make sure it's mycotoxic and free.
Right, right. I just recently learned about that because my husband drinks a lot of coffee, and we just bought a house that's like 100 years old, and there's no visible mold, but we're both like a little bit like, well, the house is pretty old, and like we could
Mhm.
probably have some mold in here. And then I was like, wait a minute, but you're probably drinking it in your coffee every
Yes.
day, so like maybe that's actually something we should address first before like tearing walls down. Like, are you
Yeah.
drinking it 3 times a day in your coffee? You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, everything that you're saying, you're really pointing to the toxic load that we live under, that we don't know that we live under, that's creating havoc in our body because it's interrupting our body's natural ability to heal, regulate, and to regenerate, which our
Mhm.
body can do that when it's given the right ingredients. I talk about this a lot with like the somatic movement that I teach. We're doing something very natural. We're contracting and slowly releasing your muscles and then feeling them relax. It seems like too simple. It seems too good to be true that this could be the way your brain is designed to release tension. But literally, animals are doing it all the time. Those little
Yes.
funny movements where they're contracting and then they're slowly releasing, right? When do we stop doing these natural things? When does our body kind of stop its natural processes? When does our digestion fail? When does our fertility fail? When we're sick.
Elementary school.
Well, yeah. Well, when we're sick, when there's some toxicity in our system, right? Or there's some kind of, ongoing illness that we're dealing with, right? And when we're stuck in fight or flight. And that is when animals will stop doing those little movements we call stretches. They will stop doing that when they think that they're under attack. Well, we live in a society, we live in a world that is constantly putting us in this position of being not only afraid and in a fear cycle and in the hamster wheel, running, 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 our adrenaline and our cortisol, and then all the foods that we're eating encourage that continued cortisol output, right? But we're also living in a world where most of us have been born with a certain level of toxicity that we're immediately exposed to that keeps us feeling ill. So of course we're not feeling vital and well, right?
Yeah. And you can't detox. The number one way to detox the body is to stop putting toxins in. Like I can't say
100%.
it more clearly.
100%.
And you don't you can
Yeah.
I'm actually what I should do. I want to show you two videos. Do people get to see this video or just listen to it?
Well, both. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
So the people watching on YouTube, right? And if you want to see what she's going to show, just pause this, hop over to YouTube, right?
Oh,
Go to the timestamp.
you're just gonna flip. This is 100% worth it. So so we do retreats at our wellness center in Georgia. So Lilyfield Center is a wellness center. People come and stay for 5 days to months, and they just eat and they get detoxed and they just enjoy life in nature and eating this way. I'm going to show you, we do live blood cell analysis the day they get there and the day they go home. This is one woman, and we do this for everybody. We see this all the time, but I wanted to show this to you because this is an older woman who has been smoking. She lives in a mold-ridden home, and she is feisty as all get out. She never stopped smoking, even through the retreat. But I want to show you what happened to her blood in 7 days of sweating and eating and drinking the right things. Ready? So this is what her blood looked like when she came. For those of you who are looking, you're seeing every one of the cells isn't formed correctly at all. They're all looking
Uh,
like
uh,
hairs. And you
chaotic.
can see gut toxins, you can see mold, you can see lots of little bacteria. Those are all the little black things in there as well. Lots of candida. This is not healthy blood. This is very toxic. 7 days later, well, that's what it looks like.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
that's 7 days where the gut toxins are greatly reduced, a little bit of candida, still some bacteria, and a little bit of mold, but look at the health of the cells in 7 days. So, detoxing the body, you can all start today by just drinking water. Drink 2 quarts of water by two. Start sweating, get a sauna, go find a sauna, work outside, go up and down your stairs 16 times, whatever you need to do. And somatic therapy, I wanted you to know I used that as well as a lot of myofascial stretching and deep breathing during that to reverse my scoliosis.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to know, I have scoliosis. There's a blog post that shows before and after, but within 18 months, my scoliosis was gone because every single week I did this deep breathing and deep stretching, and then some chiropractic, a couple times a month and acupuncture a few times. And over 18 months, it was gone. Like when we don't realize that we are holding so much tension. And it's interesting because when I'm in a situation where I'm exposed to some of those people that I was exposed to during the first 11 years of my marriage when I was not safe, period. We were not safe as a family. I'll start slouching. I'll start
Yep.
like,
Yep.
my
Closing
husband,
down.
my husband
Mhm.
will be like, he says number one. And I know what that means. Number one is let that all go. And immediately I just feel myself going, and I'm like, nope, breathe through it, let it go, just be who you are. We really don't realize as a society how much we carry our experiences in our tissues. And that's why when we do somatic therapy during our retreats, when Aimee will lead a somatic therapy and people just release so much, they're like, they're lighter, they're happier, they drink more water. So
Yeah.
people following you, and I'm so excited to post this and encourage people to watch what you do because it is so important that we realize we aren't, number one, we're not alone. And number two, emotions are polypeptides. Hey, everybody,
Yep.
we can measure your polypeptides in your blood. Like we can tell if you're emotional or not just by your health. If you have a liver issue, what you're angry, if you're constipated, you're stuck with something. Like it's very easy because everything is frequency. 100% of everything is very measurable. Every word is measurable. Every emotion is measurable. I've already done all that work. I've got graphs on that. And so because of that, we are able to look at a human body and like, oh, you're grieving for 30 years. No
Um,
wonder your cough won't go away, right? There's like so much that we can release by letting it go from our muscle tissue. But
right.
part of that will never happen if you're downing energy drinks every day and you're eating
Right.
white
It,
bread and white crackers
absolutely.
and going out to eat. Like it starts inside of the cell tissue. That's where energy is produced in the mitochondria. Well, the mitochondria needs glucose, really good glucose, which can only get into the cell if you have enough chromium and insulin, which most people don't anymore. So half the world is, diabetic and pre-diabetic. You can get rid of all that in weeks. You can get rid of all that in a couple of weeks. You don't have to live with diabetes. Even type 1 diabetics, we have people with type 1 diabetes who've never taken insulin. Never. And if they've had insulin, they've off of it or they're down to a quarter or a third of it by understanding how the body actually functions at a cell level. So I think I'm feeling led to mention this. And
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to be offended at this, but we actually need to take responsibility for where we're at. If you are sick, or if you aren't feeling good, or if you're feeling sluggish, or if you have candida, or if you have cancer, whatever you're dealing with, you actually have to own that because you can't blame somebody else for it. Now, we can place blame on certain things like mRNA vaccinations and some of the crap that they've put into the injections into our kids and into our adults. We know that there are some very physical things that happen to us when we're abused, when we're psychologically abused. We have that, but we all get exposed to something. We're not the only ones walking around with, oh, we've had issues in our life. Every single person listening has an issue or has had an issue, has had exposure to things that are bad physically or emotionally. But knowing that we still have to start there and accept it as part of who we are now, and then learn to release that. We can release physically through the things that you teach, but we can also, and emotionally, but we can also release by detoxification and taking antiparasitics and cleansing the blood and using cayenne and using herbs and using basil and using the herbs from the earth, which people call weeds, but they're not. Everything you look at has a potential to heal you. That's just how the earth literally is designed. It's designed frequency wise to bring the body back into natural homeostasis. And it does, but it won't do that if you're not connected to the earth. If you're not
Right.
eating the food from, just think of it. You wake up in the morning, and you're in your wooden house or your plastic house, whatever things are these days, and then you like drink toxic food and you eat toxic food, you drink toxic water, you put on synthetic clothing, you put on your plastic shoes, you go outside on concrete, you get in your car, which is on plastic, and you drive to work. You don't touch the earth. You're not eating earthly friendly foods that are coming out of the earth, springing with vitamins, minerals. And if they look funny, great. That's what organic is. Organic means a bug might eat it. So if you get a piece of corn on the cob and there's not a bug in it, don't eat it. Like I just really like think that way. Think, oh my, your tomato doesn't look perfect. Great. It's heirloom and it's organic and that's what you want to eat. But like we're so disconnected from another nature. I can't say we because I'm not and you're not, but a lot of people are. And this is just a great time to go, hey, organic might cost $1 more, but the brick weight's higher, the nutrients are higher, and it's going to turn off your apostat so you won't be hungry anymore. So much faster than crap food. And it's pretty easy to make a few simple changes buying organic. It simply means we're going to remove some of the side
Yeah.
dishes
Yeah.
insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, larvicides. Those are all designed to kill your living nervous system. So why would you put that in your child and then expect your child to be normal? You can't feed them things that kill their nervous system and then expect you to have a normal child. So it's just taking a step back, coming in a little simpler and going, okay, I'll drink more water. I'll buy a couple more things organic. I'll eat more living food than dead food. I'll just try some things. Just find some way to elevate and take responsibility for your physical condition. Because if you keep blaming it on someone, that's what an awful frequency to live in. Like you are then
Yeah.
you're in victim mode the rest of your life. And do you really want to be a victim the rest of your life? No, you want to live life as a
Yeah.
human without that. That's
And stepping into a place of empowerment about your own health is sometimes quite the journey for people because, I have even, experienced in myself, and I know, some people listening might connect with this. Like they understand everything you're saying, and parts of them are like jumping forward and saying, yes, like I know I need to make these changes. Like I'm going to stop being a victim, right? But then there's another part of them that is like kind of victimized by like their own conditioning to be a self-loathing person. At some point when they were a child, they figured out that if they hate themselves first, it's less painful when someone else rejects them. It's less painful when their parent is disappointed in them. If they just hate themselves first, right? And so a lot of times on this journey of making these better choices and finding a way to be empowered about your health, you also have to start loving who you are. You have to start saying kinder things to yourself and looking at the reasons why you have chosen these things, that are toxic or poisonous or harmful, and some of it is wrapped up in people's nervous systems very deeply. And it's going to take time to unwind that. It's going to take time to make the better choice, because we're not just rewarding ourselves sometimes with like birthday cake. Sometimes we're punishing ourselves with birthday cake because we know it's not good for us and we don't feel good about ourselves that day. We don't feel like we did enough. We weren't productive enough. We're not beautiful enough, blah, 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 blah. And we don't even realize that that's part of why we're binging on, chips, or we're, not treating our bodies with respect
yeah.
because we
Yeah.
don't carry that regard for ourselves at a deep enough level, right? So I really hear how this is just such a multifaceted journey. And the things you're describing for people to take action and start doing, they literally are acts of self-love. And your body will register that when you start taking care of it, and that can precede or be, some part of this whole journey to, you know, empowerment and loving yourself and treating yourself with respect. It could just be like literally, like you said, drinking more water. It could literally be like choosing a different thing for breakfast, having better boundaries with your kids around sugar. You're showing them that how to respect their bodies, right?
I love that. I'll give you a code so your people can get it for free. I have an Audible called How to Raise the Frequency of Everyone Around You Without Them Knowing. Because people don't realize you are vibrating.
Yeah.
Everybody in your life is vibrating, and you're probably attracted to people that are kind of on your same vibrational. That's why you can always tell how people are by the 15 closest people around them. Like it's just kind of where you're at. Where focus goes, energy flows. So if we wake up every morning and we're like, we check social media before we like before we even say good morning to your own body. Like you should wake up in the morning and be like, good morning. How's my liver? All right. How's my liver? How's my heart? How's my stomach? How's my spleen? What's going on? Hey guys, I'm here today. We're going to take better care of you today. I promise. Like we're going to focus more. Like where is our focus going? Right to something we can have nothing to do about. Like it doesn't matter. Please just turn. If you want to love yourself more, turn off social media because just trust me on that, at least for a week or a month or something. Like take a major break or only use it for 10 minutes when you're on the jiggle machine. I don't know. But like where focus goes, energy flows. And if people wake up every morning and they're like, oh, I still have fibromyalgia. Oh, I'm still in so much pain. Oh, I've got cancer. You've just labeled yourself. You've just given yourself a label. And what is every cell in your body hearing? You have fibromyalgia. Oh, I'm in so much pain. Like we literally just give ourselves an identity. And it's interesting because, Aimee, I have found so many people that have come to me and they tell me all their issues and I'm like, okay, well, this is, we can see this. I do my scans, I do my all my blood work, blah blah. And like, okay, this is how do you want to get rid of it? Like I actually ask people now, do you want to live with MS or do you want to get rid of it? Do you want to live with fibromyalgia? Like, could you imagine life without it? Or is this just like part of who you are now? Well, and I've had it for so long. I know right away they're not going to get rid of it. So we actually need to drop the identity of whatever illness, whatever emotional thing, whatever. And big things have happened in my life, guys. I am coming from a place of knowing, okay? So this is not always easy, but I will tell you it's worth it. And I will tell you it's possible, but all of it starts here. And then the second place it starts is here. So it's not just what you're thinking, it's not just the vibrations you're putting out there, because if you're vibrating at a place of peace or acceptance, or allow should be your favorite word, because then you'll stop judging everybody if you just get over it and allow people to be who they are. But then it starts with what comes in and out of your mouth, the words and the food, right? What's coming out and what's going in. So helping to change that mindset is going to be wonderful. It's the first thing you can do when you wake up in the morning. Some people go right into prayer. They just roll out of their bed and go right to prayer. Great, do that. I don't care who you're praying to. At least you're acknowledging you are not like the highest up, right? It's not all about you. And I think that's why prayer is so beneficial, because a lot of people think it's all about them all the time. And it's all about what they want or they vision or they need or what they expect. And then their relationships suffer because they're not putting their spouse first, and their relationship with their mom or their dad or their anybody. So waking up and realizing that there's a greater power, however you want to look at that, spirit, universe, is a wonderful way to ask for divine help or acknowledge that there's something else out there. But I do believe that when we change what we're thinking and we change what we're eating and saying and speaking into existence, so much of our life can become empowered. And so we teach a course called Empowered, but how much of that is the awareness that what we're thinking is playing the number one role in our life. And if we've had unfulfilled expectations, what are you going to carry that around with you the rest of your life? I had an expectation that I would raise my kids, and then I had all these grandkids, and I would be a little happily little married, little happy little woman, and all my grandkids would come on Sunday for afternoon dinner. I raised my kids thinking that was going to happen. That's not what happened, right? My kids grew up, and I left the religion I raised my children in, and well, some of them weren't happy about that at all. Either was my spouse. So my life isn't that way, but I love my life. I can't imagine my life any other way. I love my life, and I love all my children that I was able to raise. Even if I don't have communication with them anymore, I love them, and they're doing what they feel is best. So isn't that enough for me? Isn't it enough for me to go, hey, I brought these people into the world. Most of them I'm very close with, and the rest that aren't, it's okay. I love them. I can't wait until, their kids grow up, and hopefully they'll want to know their grandma someday. But if I woke up every day and was like, oh, I'm miserable, and which when it first happened, how could I not be? That was devastating. But this had to change. This had to change. And when my head changed, when my brain state changed, and I went into allow again, then that was the road that I'm a creator, and a lot of people can't heal unless they're creating. So if you're a creator, then you need to let go of that pain of losing a spouse or losing a child or losing whatever it might be, that relationship that you were so dependent on, and allow that to exist. And then you'll be free from that, because right now you're
Yeah.
carrying that weight. You're a sailboat and you're pulling a tugboat, and you just got to let that go. And it's okay. It's okay, because I'm speaking to the moms right now because I'm feeling led to do that. But the moms that are listening who may not have attachment to some of their children right now, you threw the birthday parties because you wanted to. This is what I went through. When I realized that I had all my kids in Girl Scouts and my Boy Scouts, and I threw the birthday parties, and we were the coolest house ever. Everyone came over even at 11 o'clock at night and could eat dinner and play in our awesome game room. And like, I took pictures of anybody who wanted pictures, and we just loved everybody. I just loved on all my kids and all their friends. We were that house because I wanted to do that. I raised my kids, I taught them how to work, taught them how to balance books, taught them all because I wanted to. So that a couple of them have left and they're in their own world, that is their choice. I did it because I wanted to provide that to them. So we have to, as mothers, allow our kids to do what they think is right. Hopefully they'll all come back, but we have to get to a okay place in our brain that it's not us. Those are
Right.
choices that they made. Those are choices that they made, just like we make choices. And so who are we to put our unfulfilled expectations on our kids or our friends or our spouse or whoever it is that has chosen to leave our life? We have to allow them to make that choice. And when I got to that point, is literally when I was okay. I was like, okay, that doesn't mean there's not times like when I came. to this state a few days ago. I was like, one morning I woke up and my heart was just so sad because just an hour north are my grandkids I haven't seen, haven't spoken to, blah, blah, in years, and I can't go see them. But it's okay. It only lasted 15 minutes, half an hour. Made love with my husband and I was better. So, I mean, like, whatever it might be like, find your out. But like,
Yeah.
okay to release that and just enjoy the life you do have because that's what you have. You have a gift. Every day you wake up with a gift. Do you wake up and give thanks for it or abuse it? And if you wake up and just eat crap food and think negative thoughts, that's not rejoicing in the gift you've been given, which is another day of life. So let's just kind of revisit that, even though I know it can be painful.
Yeah, well, I think your situation is very, it's a very powerful thing that you're sharing this kind of lack of the bitterness, right? And allowing people to be who they are. This is a deep lesson for you at kind of a big level because you had to be honest about who you were in order to leave that religion, in order to know that you were going to possibly trigger, upset, people were maybe going to feel betrayed, but you had to be true to yourself, right? And you had to choose that. And I also love what you said about, giving and being so generous as a mother because you wanted to, not because now they owe you,
Yeah.
but because you wanted to, because that's who you are and that's what you wanted to create, right? And all of those beautiful experiences are not negated by the fact that you now choose yourself and you now want something different for your life. It seems like a very kind of natural progression, that at a certain point it would be more about your personal journey and less about just kind of holding everything together for them. And so that's beautiful. And I like that you're acknowledging that it's not always easy because it really isn't. And it's, if people feel this hurt and bitterness, that's going to show up from time to time. But how do you work with that? How do you still embrace the goodness in your life? That's what your nervous system and your body needs to regulate. It's not like being a regulated person, you're just chill and calm and happy all the time. Like, no, we're going to get frustrated. We're going to get irritable. We're going to get sad. And, but how quickly can we come back to homeostasis? And that's a big part of what you're talking about today in terms of the nutritional support, the mineral support, and all of the different ways that our nervous systems and our physical bodies uh, need that nourishment in order to be able to do that, right? In order to be able to have that more dynamic shift from I feel like shit and now 20 minutes, 2 hours later, I'm good to go and I'm happy, right?
And you might even consider yourself bipolar once in a while when that happens, because you really can be. I can be in a really state of like, oh my gosh, what's happening with this? Blah, blah. And then 15 minutes later, I'm fine because I can quickly regulate back to that. And so it is one of those where you're going to laugh at yourself sometimes and be like, really? Why did I even go there? But where focus goes, energy flows. So if you
Yeah.
wake up and you're looking at the bank account, you're looking at this, you're looking at that, and it's like negative, 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 negative. Of course, what's going to come out is negative, and you're going to look for crappy, negative, low frequency food. So it can be as simple as grabbing an organic apple or taking a walk outside. Do something that is uplifting to the body and the spirit, and you're gonna notice how fast that can change. I tell everybody just move to Georgia because every time you go to any store, it's like, hey, honey pie, how are you doing, sweetheart? Hey, love, like at the bank. I mean, anywhere you go, everyone just, I don't know what they say when you leave. Who cares? They're just so nice when you go. Like, Southern hospitality is a real thing. So we tease about it because people do speak nice, kind words, even though they might not always mean them. But at least that's a great thing compared to just being ignored or being yelled at. Or, I mean, so find those things or that podcast or find something that you can flip on, that music that raises your frequency and raises that vibration in you so that what comes out is higher and that you attract something better inside. So, yeah, very.
Right. Yeah. And that oscillation of our nervous system, like you said, the feeling like you're bipolar, it's just part of being human. And how can we accept like the full range of our humanness, right? Like in terms of the you know, positive communication that we experience throughout our day, the like ways that, the weather shifts and changes from the clouds to the sun. Like it's all around us, these ways that things are oscillating and shifting. And so our bodies and our consciousness, they're really no different than that. My son the other day, he said this and it was like I could see how I loved how smart he was. I was like I could see him like kind of coming up with this case in his head. He's like, "So mom, like why is it that you can be like really crabby and irritable and angry, about something and then one of your clients shows up and you spend an hour with them and you're all like, "Hi," and so happy and nice and then suddenly like everything's okay, and I heard this little challenge in his voice, like he was like basically kind of calling me out like on some sort of inauthenticity that or thing that he was noticing. And I said, sweetie, I get to be human. I get to be fully human. My clients know that. I can be irritated and upset and pissed off about something 1 minute. And then when my client shows up, I have a really clear part of my nervous system that I can go to that is okay. Even though I have this irritation, I can also be okay. And I can show up in a professional way and provide the service that I provide for other people. And sometimes in doing that, in entering that other part of my brain, right, I start feeling different than I did 20 minutes ago about the car insurance or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
And I'm okay. And it's not inauthentic. It's just me being able to switch gears. It's me being able to let go of whatever was going on and show up for what's in front of me, which in
Hmm.
this case is my clients. And I've been doing this long enough that I know how to, switch over to that part of my nervous system, and he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "So it's really not inauthentic. And if you're crabby and angry 1 minute and then the next moment you're happy, there's nothing wrong with you."
Yes, and remind him you're safe with him.
Yeah.
I'm safe with my husband. I'm safe with my family. And so they're the ones who are going to see the part of Karen that hopefully nobody else sees. It's like, I'm safe. So if I've got to be like, blah, 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 okay, get it all out. Okay, I feel great. Thank you. It's a shift. It's like it's built up energy, which is real. That's why, like, if you get embarrassed, your face turns red. Did you eat something? No, it's an emotion. And those emotions need to come out. Otherwise, feelings buried alive never die. Right. So if we bury our feelings and we walk around with these internal feelings because we can't express ourselves or we don't feel safe, find your safe space, which is why we love somatic therapy. So find your somatic healer because finding that safe space is a place for us to release, whether that be at the gym, whether it be taking a walk with your girlfriend every day or your spouse. Like, look for a place where it's safe to release. And then that alone is like, it's like releasing the steam so the pot can continue to be warm and making all those goodies. Like, we just have to sometimes release that. So tell your son the other reason is I'm safe with you. I know you
Oh,
love me and I love you so much that I can just be frustrated at the insurance man and I can just be frustrated because someone didn't make a deposit, whatever it might be, and I'm safe. And that's going to make him feel what? Like, oh my gosh, I'm really safe with my daughter. I have a couple of my daughters. They're like my bestest friends in the world, even though they're like 30 years younger than me, right? I'm completely safe with them. I can be myself. They're never going to care. If I say something stupid, they're not going to write me off. A couple of the other people in my life, I can't be so safe with. And so find your safety net and let them know that you're safe with them and that you're going to say stupid things. And then don't. I heard something recently that I want to share, and I know we're probably getting close on time. My husband shared this. And I've been using it now. And so he's like, you can take a glass of water and put some piss in it. Then you can put as much sugar as you want in that water. It's not going to take the piss out. You actually have to work at getting that out of the water, right? We have to actually get, so a lot of people are all about putting sugar in, putting sugar in, putting sugar in the water, more sugar, more sugar, more sugar. But if we don't release that out of the water, if we don't find our release, which can be the friend or the spouse, somatic healing, massage, whatever it might be, if we don't release that, it's just sugar in the water. And a lot of people and their psychology approach is sugar in the water, sugar in the water, sugar in the water, right? And that's actually, happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Tapping is amazing. I do tapping all the time because we're releasing something. But we have to acknowledge that sometimes there is piss in the water that we need to detox and we need to get out emotionally because sugar ain't going to do a whole lot. So I just want to mention that because I think sometimes people do have that analogy that they just have to
yeah.
think positive, think positive, think positive. That's nice. But we actually have to release and get.
And our bodies want to do that. If you stop putting toxic stuff in, your body will naturally cleanse, right?
Mm,
What's already there. It's just the
yeah.
natural thing that your body wants to do, is get as you say, get the piss out of the water. Like it's just what our bodies will do when they're not constantly contending with what we're putting in, right? That more
Yes.
and more sugar or more and more piss, right?
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
the cleaner you get, the less you desire it. I have no desire to eat ice creams and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'll taste things, but there's no way I could eat a whole piece of cheesecake or something. Like my body doesn't desire any of that. The cleaner you get mentally, it's the same way. You'll allow some things in, but other things you're like, nope, not even gonna go there. We don't become a sponge anymore. We're very aware.
Yeah.
Love you. You're
Wow.
so much fun. We have to have you come on to one of our retreats and do some somatic therapy for us. That'd be so cool.
Oh, that would be really fun. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
we'll be
I
meeting.
part of my goal with this podcast is I really love to connect different practitioners to each other. And so, this podcast, there's going to be other practitioners who are listening to what you're up to, right? And then they're hearing about what I'm up to. And then we all get to like learn about each other because your model is a really good example of this. But I truly believe that it's never going to be just one thing that helps a person heal. It's going to be a recipe. It's going to be an
Yes.
individualized, personalized recipe of the things that they resonate with that work for their nervous system and their biology at that time. And that's why we need to know about each other and we need to know about what other people are up to so that we can provide the best possible healing for humanity.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. I love it. Well, people, if anyone's looking, we kind of made a landing page. Well, I made it. It's not very nice. I have someone who's going to work on it. But anyhow, it's like zuzuunleashed.com because we have the school, we have the wellness center, we have a community that meets every other Sunday just for fun, right? And we have so many things that we're involved in. So if you go to zuzuunleashed.com, you'll have a direct link to my online store with my favorite products, and you'll get a link to Holistic Health Educators, which is our online school of natural medicine. And you can literally come in as an educator. $2,500. You can learn, you'll have classes handed to you. You'll learn so much. Our holistic health coach program and our holistic healthcare practitioner course is far more diverse than any naturopathic doctor course I've ever seen. We have incredible instructors. Besides Aimee and I, we have dozens of instructors that we've brought in that are top leading in the world. It is an incredible school. And then we have the Lily Fields Wellness Center, which people come to as a retreat center. They just come and they get to, and we have people there from all over the world that come. We only keep like 10 people at a time, so it's very small,
Wow, really
very
intimate. Yeah.
very intimate, and we're building a big center, so we'll have space for more as we grow. But it's been amazing because the blood work I showed you earlier, we get to see that every single time, and how people feel is amazing. And what happens every time, Aimee, is because their body has been releasing toxins, their spirit is so much higher when they leave. I mean, they have made best friends. They are going to change how they eat the rest of their life. We had 16-year-olds come who are like, we will never go back to how we ate because of how we feel, how we're sleeping, our skin, we're having great bowel movements all within a week. So there's so much healing that can happen. So you can find those. And I've got free ebooks, and we have like mini courses on cancer and diabetes and sleep and that kind of thing.
Wonderful.
So there's a lot we can
Yeah.
offer. So just reach out to us if anybody needs
Yeah.
us. We're just so happy to help. And
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of people who need you. Probably a few people listening to this podcast need you. So please go to the show notes and there will be some links there. There will be links to a couple of the freebie things that you mentioned. We'll just make sure that there's good resources for you. And I've really loved this conversation. I've loved what a wealth of knowledge you are. And just, I can really feel how all of this is in you. Like you are the educational center because you have so much experience and you've lived it and you continue to live it. And that's really inspiring.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks for letting me come on the show. We love to do podcasts big and small because it's all about the one. People get so caught up in how many likes they're going to have, how many millions of this or tens of thousands of this. I don't care. I don't even do hardly my social media. I don't care if one person listens or 15 listen or 4,000. I've always been speak to the one, and I always will be, because one person can change generations. And isn't that what we're here for, you and I? It's always about the one.
100%. Yes, I
Mhm.
believe so.
Yeah.
It's always that connection because it's at the end of the day, it's like we are the one ourselves, right?
Yes,
And so
exactly.
whatever we're doing is going to come from us and to another, and then it's going to be their journey. It's going to be their
Yes.
individual process. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Well,
thank you again for
thank
this
you
great
so much.
conversation. I can't wait to
That
meet
was great.
Aimee, the other,
Yes.
your
Yep.
Aimee.
My email. Well, we should have you come out for a retreat. We'll do a somatic retreat over that, our retreat center. That would be super fun.
Oh, I'd love to talk with you more about that. So stay tuned, listeners, for a fun collaboration.
Ah,
ZuZu Unleashed and, Free Your Soma get to collaborate. And we will look forward to having you on the show again sometime, ZuZu.
sounds great, Miss Aimee. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Hey there, friend. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I would love to hear your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram at Aimee and send me a DM about this episode. I'd like to thank you for being part of this somatic revolution. And if you'd like to support the podcast and help more people learn about somatics, consider leaving a review or a rating. And finally, if you'd like to have the experience of relief in your tight hips or back and learn to understand what your body is really saying to you, visit youcanfreeyoursoma.com. I can't wait to share with you what is truly possible. Bye for now.